What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And this one, I want to talk about what's going on with Tesla stock. I'm going to be talking about the overall market and why there's going to be some opportunity in Tesla, in my opinion, approaching the Cybertruck launch event. I'm going to break down why technicals suggest that Tesla could be making a move to the upside very soon, how Tesla's looking right now compared to the overall market, and some new updates involving the stocks thus far. Before I break anything down all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. Anyways, let's talk about Tesla, what's going on with the chart, what's going on with next week. So as a reminder, guys, for the whole market, we have some big things coming out next week, right? For Wednesday, we have GDP numbers. For Thursday, we have the PCE data report, which is very important for inflation and the Fed's policies. And Friday is going to be a big day because we have Jerome Powell giving a speech. So don't forget about these factors. I want to keep reminding you guys about them. But the beginning of the week is going to be very chill when it comes to economic data and such. Starting Wednesdays when things get serious. But Tesla's going to be in its own world because we have the Cybertruck launch events very soon. This is going to be very exciting amongst investors. It's going to be on November 30th, the last day of November, which I believe is going to be Thursday. So next Thursday. Uh, this is going to be super important for Tesla. It's going to be important for investors' views of Tesla. And Tesla's not going to be launching like 100 Cybertrucks or anything crazy like that. I think they're going to be delivering just like 10 or so, according to an executive, maybe more. But if anything, we're going to be looking at different specs about this, lots of hype. And typically, when we have these big events, Tesla tends to see some upside. So I am anticipating some upside very, very soon for Tesla. I think it might try to pump a bit approaching the event. But after the event, there's always going to be the risk of downsides. You just want to be very careful. And we'll be watching to see what the Cybertruck brings. So Elon Musk said the Tesla Cybertruck is going to be bulletproof. So the truck's body in itself is going to be bulletproof, but the glass is not going to always be bulletproof. It depends on what the buyer basically prefers. It's customizable from what I found. It's optional. But if anything, that's still something that's very awesome. It's a very, very good factor. And that's one reason why a lot of people would be interested in buying it. Now, when it comes to the design, I've seen Tesla get a lot of criticism for it, especially for like the side mirrors, which is understandable. I mean, it's not your typical pickup, if anything, but despite that, there's a lot of hype associated with this, and we're going to see a lot of buyers stepping in thanks to it. I think a lot of people are going to be buying their Cybertrucks anyways, and there's a big backlog of orders. Now, the thing about the Cybertruck is, now from an investor hype standpoint, it's going to be bullish, right? People are going to be buying Tesla stock approaching this launch event. Yes. However, from a fundamental standpoint, this is not necessarily super bullish for Tesla because Cybertrucks are very expensive, especially when you're developing new models. Tesla is still working on trying to mass produce it and doing this in a very affordable manner. And they're not going to be profitable on these Cybertrucks when they start off. This is what happens with new EVs. This is completely normal, right? Completely normal. But Tesla had the same issue in 2016, 2017, and beyond, right? So the same thing happened with the Model 3, but Tesla managed to prevail and find a way. And I personally believe Tesla will find a way to be profitable on the Cybertruck. It just may take another year, could take 18 months. Who knows how long it's going to take? So, with that being said, I mean, for now, okay, right now, the Cybertruck is going to be bullish for Tesla as of right now, approaching this launch event. And that's why I think there's going to be some upside for Tesla and a good opportunity. The Cybertruck claims about 2,500 pound payload capacity with 11,000 pounds of tow rating, which is once again pretty insane. Once again, we have some specs right over here that have come out as it has like adjustable suspension, so it depends on like the buyer's preferences. Lots of things can be adjusted and kind of like customized for these investors or different buyers. Once again, this is very exciting. A lot of people are just super excited about it. I've actually seen one on the streets that look very, very unique. People around me have different views, completely understandable. But if anything, Tesla will once again prevail from this, at least for the longer term. I think that a thread on Cybertruck Owners Club says there will be like 20 pickups put on display. I read there are going to be about 10 of them for sure, which should be delivered, maybe more. Maybe it's going to be all 20, who knows? But if anything, this is going to be very interesting, and we'll see how this looks. Now, the Cybertruck is also a product that's going to be improved as time goes on. I know it got some criticism for its range. Not the end of the world. I'm sure that like a lot of people are just going to find ways around that. Once again, very, very awesome. But now let's talk about the chart. So what is the chart suggesting for Tesla? And it's very simple. So when you look and zoom out a little bit, look at the 4 hour time frame. What do you notice here, right? You notice that if you look at the last, this is like almost 2 weeks, we hit the 200 EMA, we kind of bounced off of it, came below it a little bit, came right back up, we touched it, we bounced, we came close to it, we bounced, came close to it, we bounced, came close to it, we bounced. It likes to hold this as a base. 230 to 232 is acting as a base for Tesla. It's establishing a very, very nice setup thanks to that. From a Wyckoffean standpoint, this is acting as an accumulation schematic. So basically, Tesla fell because a lot of investors were selling. They're selling up here, forming this head and shoulders, right? It came down here, it started dropping and dropping and dropping. We saw more aggressive selling, and we started to see Tesla become the second most shorted stock on the market. And then what happened was Tesla formed a nice inverse head and shoulders because we started to see an accumulation right here. So when they dropped it, when people were panicking, saying Tesla's going to crash to 150, it's the end for Tesla. But I was telling you guys, no, it's not the end. Tesla's going to run approaching the Cybertruck event, right? I've been consistent on that. So as a result, the buyers ended up coming back. They ended up accumulating shares down here. They're buying down here. This is where Wall Street, all these investors were buying at the bottom. And they finally started to let this thing launch. And now retail is starting to buy up here. So could we start pushing up higher? Yes. We're trying to base right here. This kind of looks like a nice cup and handle in the 4 hour time frame. And I think that as it bases right here, we might see it chop a bit for a little longer, but we're going to be looking for a nice move to the upside by Wednesday/Thursday. And if it manages to break out, okay, we're going to be watching these resistance levels around the 242 area, and then we have like 245, 246. If you manage to break above this high we made from the middle of November, or if anything, the November high breaks, this thing is going to fill this imbalance. And we're going to be heading for basically 253, I believe it is. That's where this imbalance is. So right around 252.5 to 253. We're heading all the way up there if we do manage to break that high. And we could even try to go higher than that. So this looks bullish. The 4 hour time frame looks bullish. I anticipate some upside on Tesla. I think a good buying opportunity has come. The buying opportunity was down here. I called this as a buying opportunity as well. I'm not giving financial advice. It's just me saying what I think based off my charting and etc. But I just want to call out, okay, there is still scalping opportunity on Tesla. You can still scalp this thing like crazy, make crazy gains on it. It is not necessarily like you're too late. There's always opportunity anyways. On top of this, I just want to mention that with this basing, we have some like really tight levels. I'm going to keep these levels up just to show you like how it's moving on a daily basis. But one level worth watching is going to be very close to 247. If we do break out by like Thursday/Friday, we need to break this high right here. If we break this high, we're going to launch up not just to 250, but like 252 and beyond. I'll be marking more of these levels later on, but 252 will be coming. There's going to be a nice upside and lots of money could be made on this. So I see opportunity in Tesla for the week, and I think that the Cybertruck event is going to be very awesome. Now, what about Nvidia? What do I see for Nvidia stock? The answer is it could be forming a flag, but from a technical standpoint, it's looking a bit more bearish. We have, however, some nice support around this 476 area. And if that fails us, then we have like really nice support between 468 to 470. So what I'm thinking is it could drop a little bit more. We could see it drop just a bit more, get very close to 470. And we might see some buyers defend. I think that it might make a move to the upside with Tesla just a little bit. And it might just kind of range trade for some time. Right now, it's looking a bit more bearish. I could see it drop a bit more. We might see some buyers try to defend at this 468 area. That's worth noting because that's where we saw this thing retrace to during its earnings, that 468 touch. That's going to be a very important support historically for Nvidia. So I could see it once again, pull back a little bit more, but we might see some buyers defend it temporarily, and we will see if they could try to hold this thing up or not. At least for the time being, with this like downwards channel, I do anticipate more downside. But make sure you watch the support. The support right here is where we could see some defense of the stock, and we'll be watching that very carefully. All right, so Nvidia looks a bit more bearish, but watch support. We might see some buyers defend right there. For the QQQ, this is in a very critical state because it's getting very tight right now, but we're starting to show some weakness. So we're starting to break below this wedge right here. I'm going to actually switch over to the 4 hour time frame. On the 4 hour, you could see we have this like wedge that's developing. What sometimes happens is once we get a break, we sometimes get a back test of the wedge before we try to like uh, drop lower. So it could push up a little bit, back test 390, then just reject and start sinking a bit. But this is starting to look bearish. And one thing that's leading this down could be Apple stock. So one of the first retracement levels could be like from this wick down here, or even like this one right here. We could take a Fibonacci retracement tool and just like start from like right here. We could technically do this. If we were to do this, what you'll see is we have this critical support right here, right? At the 0.618 retracement near 383, we need to hold that. If the QQQ loses that, there could be a big move to the downside coming to fill this gap. And then we're likely going to see like 378 next. So make sure you pay very close attention to that and watch and see if we get a change in market structure, if we get a bearish continuation. I'll be watching that very, very carefully. For now on the QQQ though, just watch and see how it reacts to support and resistance. I just want to keep it very short from there. Last but not least for Aapl, Aapl is looking a bit more bearish. You could see that on Aapl. So we had a very interesting structure on Aapl. I'm going to pull up the 1 hour time frame just to show you this. There's something interesting going on with this. So we basically had, okay, we had all of these support levels on Aapl that were continuing to break, and we had this channel that was being respected. But one thing that you'll notice is that this thing basically had this yellow support trend line. We got a little break above it. We broke just a little bit above it before we came back down. And this was like a liquidity grab. So we saw this order block being tested before a sell-off. So this was like a potential reversal signal. And then I know I didn't draw out the order block. So you could have drawn out like, for example, uh, what it could have looked like. I didn't draw that out because I wasn't around at that time because I was taking a break at that time because I had to pick up my family from an airport. And I was doing a lot of things. But we basically got this rejection, right? And now this after this liquidity grab, after this wick, this could be signaling a reversal since we ended up breaking this low. Aapl could be reversing. Are we going to get one more pop back up to like 192 and then reject to form a head and shoulders? The risk on Aapl comes from the fact that we have a quadruple bearish divergence right here. This is like a quadruple. We look bearish on the MACD. This looks like to me like it's either going to bounce a little bit then drop or just drop down to 188. And I think that this is playing a big role in slowing the QQQ down. And I think that this is going to be more impactful in a stock like Nvidia and even like Tesla. So with that being said, Aapl could be a thing that starts sinking the market a bit more. We also closed below 190, which tends to be a bearish signal. Look for a pop and drop or a drop from here. I anticipate some downsides. You want to be very careful, but I once again just want to be honest. All right. So with that being said, Aapl is going to be very important to watch. It's looking a bit more bearish, and we could be changing our direction from here. So what I could do is I'm going to delete this yellow line, and we can actually draw out another trend line like this. Is this going to be our support? And are we about to see like this acting not support resistance? This is going to be our next resistance. Are we going to just reject from here and start downtrending? Are we going to break out a little bit higher and then get that rejection? But if anything, it really looks like Apple's about to turn, and I think that this could lead to some downside in the markets. We'll be watching the news. We'll be watching to see what Jerome Powell says on Friday. We'll be watching all these different things. But regardless of Aapl, regardless of how the market's looking, I'm going to be paying more attention to Tesla. Tesla looks like it has a lot of opportunity. And this could be very fun to play this week thanks to the Cybertruck event. All right. So with that being said, to turn bullish on Tesla, at least for like the much shorter term, you want to see it break 238. I'll be talking more about this later on, but I just wanted to call out to many of these different stocks and give you guys a nice update on the big events and etc. All right, guys. So that's it for this one. Hopefully this video was insightful about the different charts out there. I'll be talking more about different tickers for Sunday. I'm going to be going on a trip, so I might be a little late on Sunday. Not 100% sure, but I'll be back anyways nonetheless. So with that being said, have a great day. Enjoy the weekend. Do what you have to do, and I'll see you guys very soon. Thanks again, and peace out.